Good afternoon, everybody. This is Barry from awesomecalls.com. I'm going to be going over this week's trade ideas. Today is Monday, January 18th, and I'm going to be going over the trade ideas from January 10th. So let's get it right into that. VRX went to January 10th, so 11th is here. Okay, pop to the 50 EMA, 93.50. It hit 93.05 area. And then shorted back into the 80s, and you pretty much got that in that first day of trading there on that Monday. So that one worked out good. DWTI, if it pulls 262, take some long. It pulled to, well, it didn't really pull. It opened, it gapped up there, and then it pulled back a little bit, but it only pulled back to 279. But the idea was if it pulls back into that area, to take some long. So obviously that one had a crazy play in it. These all didn't work out great this week. Some of them were great, some of them weren't. Market was very iffy. I mean, this week have been horrible for long plays, for a general market. So it's a give and take here. Some of them were really good, some of them were probably really bad. I didn't actually go through them yet, so let's go through them. The third one on the list was Tesla. I played a short pop cover. If it pops to 214, short it. Okay, it popped to 212.62, so like almost 213. That was off a point on the short entry, but the idea was to short it. So it would have been good if you just averaged in, or. But again, this week has been really weird for the market, so just bear with me on these. Let's get through them, and hopefully, as the market tries to set up a proper trend, then we can decide what we want to do as we go along. Solar City popped to 51.26. 51.26. It popped to 49.38. And then shorted back into the 40s. So if you did scale in the short idea, you really got into the 30s. So it's much better off than I even anticipated. The idea was the short though. So ESPR repulsed to 1534 area. So the idea was obviously short right off the bat. Repulsed to the 1534 areas to take some long. So obviously you're about a point and a half down from there. So the idea is still long into this range, but just definitely got to find a bottom here now. But the short idea was initially there. GoPro was the next one on the list. Pop to $17 to short it. You got a 1642. Short it, so that idea worked out great. Time Warner Cable. What did this say? Pop to. So you play the pop here to 74.70. Well, you didn't get that high, but the idea was to pop it up there and then short it back to. I had 68.60s, so you got pretty close down to here, 68.90s. Sage. This one failed. The idea was to short it right off the bat. It just says, my note just says pull. Okay, so pull down. So if you did take the initial short, well, obviously it worked. But if you did get where I said I wanted it to come down to, then it failed. Because I wanted to come down to like the 53 area, and it definitely pulled way past that. The general idea at the beginning was to short it. So if you did take the short on the first day, you got your in, your out, you probably got your entry long and got stopped out the same day. So the short side would have worked, the long side would have failed. Pen. Bullish engulfing failed miserably. This was the bullish engulfing here. You got the opening candle that popped above, but then this bearish engulfing just totally smashed this entire thing here. Bearish engulfing. This produced a hanging man here. So the idea was to bullish engulfing to play the pop. If you did do that, then you kind of basically got in. Not really even good. But this one failed. I was looking for a long play off this bullish engulfing, and the fact that it was over both 13 and 8 EMA. I was looking for a long side play, so this one failed miserably. But your stops would have been, if you got into the trade, your stops should have been the 13 anyway, so you would have never gotten involved in any of this. And the last one on the list was run, and it was short right off the bat. And if the 50 EMA held to take some long, obviously the 50 EMA failed. So if you did short it right off the bat, it was a pretty good short. Okay, so that one really it wasn't that bad. It took some reading to get into it, and you really had to focus on what I was kind of basically saying about the pop first or the pull first, and then you would have caught yourself in either a nice long or a really nice short. Depends on. Like say for example DWTI, it was basically, you know, to go long on that one, especially if it held, and it did hold. So obviously the long side would have been wonderful on that. And there were some nice ones that really worked. Like even with the Solar City one, it was just awesome. I mean, the general idea was to short it anyways, and it just sick short from up there. So Sage was a monster fail. On this one, that was a big fail, and which is weird because, you know, the first two times was perfect on the Sage, and then it just failed. Anyways, so today is actually Monday, January 18th, and so let's try to go over this week's trade ideas. Maybe the week this market probably could start to maybe turn around, or at least grind or settle or something, and then we can have some more consistent trades. But let's get into it again. I'm back with DWTI again. At this point, obviously, you see that that just doji star up top there. It just begs to be shorted. So let's see how it opens. Obviously, oil's taking a different turn in the futures market today and over the weekend and whatnot. So with obviously with Iran and their news, whatever. So let's see how this opens up first. But the idea is basically if it pulls to 358 area, which is right here. So I'm obviously looking for support off this top end area here. So if it pulls onto that area and holds, then take some long, and I really got a $450 price target on this one if it launches. If it pulls back down here and fails, it would produce a head and shoulder, and so you look for the retest up here and then pull it short. So let's see how it works out, because I definitely got to see how it opens up. But what you're basically looking for is support, you know, right around this area for the long shot. And if it comes under, then obviously you're looking for basically a head and shoulder type pattern, and then pull it back under. So let's see how it opens up, because I can't just give a trade without knowing the direction after this star here. So let's see how it works out. RWLK pull to $9.29 area, which is going to be about the 50. So you want it to pull back to this area, and if it holds, I want you to take some long on this one, RWLK, or you can look for a trend break. It depends on if it moves up off this sort of kind of inverted hammer type detail here. But I'm thinking it's going to pull back to this area here, about 9 into the 930s, 940s. So if it comes down to that area, definitely take some long. AGIO bullish engulfing down here on the bottom, kind of like this bullish harami down at the bottom, bullish engulfing down at the bottom. So if it moves up past the 8, the 13 into this direction here, then obviously I want to see it all the way up here to almost $60. But we need some strength down at the bottom here. Volume came in on the last session, which is a good indicator. So your risk over here, once it opens up into Your risk obviously is down to the low. You want to try to get down as close to that as you could and try to take some long on AGIO. Qure is on my list, not because I'm swinging it personally, but I do like it over here. This Pearson candle down here on Thursday's session, and then this bullish engulfing over here, right up at the bottom. It seems like it's trying to make a nice strong base here. Let's look at the MACD to curl up. And I still got a target up here. I definitely want to see it pass the 18 area, and once it passes there, the stock's going to 22. But it's gonna take some cooperation from the biotech world too. So let's not get too crazy on it. But that's the idea. It's thin. CMG. I want to see a pullback on this one to about 450 or so, right about here. If it pulls back to the 13 EMA and holds at that 450 level, take some long for that, for the, what do I have, a 550 range on the upside. So obviously I'm looking for a big upside. Let's see how their meeting, I think they're closing February 8th or something, all stores. Let's see how their meeting goes and what results from that. But I think it's a good idea that they're finally doing that, finally getting some of this stuff organized, and they should have done it before, all the way down here when all this stuff started happening. But they chose to do it now, and let's see what results can get out of that. I think it's good for the stock though, that they're trying to address the issues. So I'm gonna see a pullback and then maybe take some long, see what happens with this one. Let's look at Jnug. Obviously, gold stuff is just getting beaten down too. Jnug is within a decent range here. I kind of like this price area at the 24-25 area. So if you get a pull down to 23.75, watch for it to hold and then take some long on Jnug. But we gotta let it hold first. Tree. I'm looking for a nice little pop on tree off of this. This is basically a bullish harami star here, and then a bullish engulfing over here. So I'm looking for a pop to about 75 on tree, and then short it and bring it back down to 60. So let's see a pop first though. Pcrx, a pullback to 66 area. So okay, this is what I have in my notes. Pull back to 66 area. What am I looking for here? Okay, so pull back into this range over here. Obviously, you have some support right here, and obviously it was used as resistance here. So let's say a pull back into this zone here, about 66. And then if it holds, obviously, you gotta take some long, try to get that 68 or so. If you get these moving averages to eventually cross, then just keep into the long trade if it works, and see as far as up as you can get, obviously. SYT, Syngenta, let's see a pullback on this one. This hanging man type, dragonfly type doji up here, I don't love it. But let's see a pullback to the 13 EMA here, about 70, what is this, 75 area over here. Let's see what she does when it comes back to this area. If the 13 EMA holds for support, then you can take some long and try it for a long shot. See what happens to it. AQXP, I know that the stake was increased on this one. Obviously volume came in here. We got a harami star over here, and now we have a huge bullish engulfing. So let's see this pull back a little bit. Like pull back into the 850 zone over here. If it pulls back into the 850 and supports right there at actually 863, if it pulls back to that level right there and supports, it should pop. There's tons of shorts in this one. They may want to release some of their positions. Target on this one's about 11 plus. So that's pretty much what I got there. As far as the markets go, let's look at SPY here. Kind of like this as a bullish reversal candle, but obviously we need another candle to confirm, and then we'll take it from there. So if candle opens up, we'll look for a pullback on the general market and then go long. If the candle opens underneath, obviously look for a pop and then short the hell out of it. So then we'll play that obviously in association with UVXY, which is, that's a pretty bearish signal up top here. It's just hanging there, just hey, short me please. So we'll see how that works out. And obviously, you know, XIV, you know, Doji Star down at the bottom over here, spinning top, whatever you want to call it. So that's just how we're going to go into this week. Let's hopefully we get a nicer, smoother trades. Let's try to see if we can nail some of these. Keep in mind about the general areas that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about exact numbers for longs and shorts. Just giving you general range to look for longs or shorts. And that's pretty much what the trade ideas is for. It's not for you to just sit there and go, oh well, I said XYZ. I'm gonna put an entry there, or and expect it to work. So just play with the trade. If it's a short, then keep it short until it tells you differently. If it's a long, keep it long until it tells you differently. Some of the trades can work into the next week. I've had some of them that work 2-3 weeks straight in the same pattern, and you look back and it's like, wow, I left 4 or 5 points on the table. But you gotta trade with discretion, and I can give you the ideas, but I can't be there to pull your trigger and to make you get in or make you stop out. And obviously, in any trade that you take, make sure you have an area of stop and something where you can just say, hey, this didn't work, move on. So anyways, that's it for the trade ideas for this week, for January 18th, and this is my Twitter. If you don't follow me already, then you are more than welcome to. It's BarryMohan81, and on here you'll find a link to the room that I trade with. awesomecalls.com/Iceman is my link. Eventually it'll pop up, and there you go. And that's pretty much for the week. So have a great one, guys. Thank you very much.